Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and join my channel. It means so much to me and helps keep these stories coming. I can't wrap my head around why the bank keeps mailing you these notices. Didn't you clear the mortgage on the house ages ago? My husband's voice floated from the kitchen, where he was sifting through a pile of envelopes. I was in the living room, still healing from hip replacement surgery, my walker stationed next to the sofa. The letter mentioned something about a reverse mortgage statement. I'm Catherine, 54 years old, and I spent 31 years as a senior claims investigator for a major insurance firm, focusing on sniffing out fraud. I've seen it all. Every scam, every fake signature, every clever trick in the book. I retired 2 years ago with a solid pension, great benefits, and a home, fully paid off, that my late first husband and I purchased in 1998. My current husband, David, 57, is a high school chemistry teacher, dependable and warm-hearted. We've been married for 6 years. His sister, Rachel, 52, was someone I'd have called family until 3 months ago. To my kids from my first marriage, Rachel was the fun aunt, always showing up with the best gifts and the most hilarious stories at family gatherings. When I married David, she embraced me like a sister. We connected over cheesy reality shows and a passion for gardening. In 6 years, I never had a single reason to question her loyalty. If this story's hitting home for you, please give it a like and hit the hype button to share it with others who might need to hear it. Your support keeps me going, and I read every comment you leave. The hip replacement surgery happened in late June. It was scheduled, but the recovery was tougher than I'd anticipated. For 3 weeks, I needed assistance with everything. David was amazing, but his summer teaching schedule was about to ramp up. Rachel stepped in right away. She'd recently left her job as a medical office administrator, citing burnout, and offered to stay with us for the first 2 weeks of my recovery. I was so thankful. She cooked meals, drove me to physical therapy, and managed the growing stack of bills and paperwork. She had full access to my filing cabinet with all our important documents, my desk drawer with my checkbook, my home office. I didn't think twice about it. She was family. I vividly recall one rough afternoon when the pain was intense, and I was so frustrated I cried, unable to even fetch a glass of water. Rachel sat beside me, held my hand, and said, "Don't stress about anything. I'm here to be your hands and feet until you're back to yourself." I was overwhelmed with gratitude. That memory now stings the most. Odd letters started arriving in mid-September. First, a statement from a lender I'd never heard of, Pinnacle Home Equity Solutions, showing a loan balance of $178,432. I thought it was spam. Then a second, more official letter arrived with detailed payment terms. I called David over. Could this be identity theft? He wondered. My fraud investigator instincts kicked in. "Let me make some calls," I said. I reached out to Pinnacle Home Equity Solutions. A loan officer named Trevor looked up my details. "Ma'am, our records show you applied for and received a reverse mortgage in early July. The funds were disbursed on July 22nd into an account ending in 7734. My pulse raced. I never applied for any reverse mortgage. I was recovering from surgery. "The application was submitted online on June 28th, he said, "and we have a notarized signature affidavit on file." "That's impossible," I insisted. "Send me everything." The next 2 hours were a whirlwind of calls and mounting dread. The reverse mortgage was real. Someone had used my name, social security number, and a forged signature to borrow $178,432 against my home. 3 days later, the documents arrived via secure email. David stood behind me as I opened them. The application listed my information with a signature that looked eerily like mine, but it wasn't. The loops were off, the pen pressure uneven. A textbook forgery. My professional instincts took over, but my emotions were in chaos. Every fraud case I'd investigated felt detached, theoretical. This was raw and personal. Untangling my sister-in-law's betrayal was a nightmare I never saw coming. "Who had access to your signature?" David asked. "Who could fake it this well?" I thought of the filing cabinet in my office, the countless documents stored there. Then I realized who'd had free reign in my home for 2 weeks in July. My stomach churned. David, I need to know something. What's Rachel's bank account number? His face paled. You can't think, just give me the account number, I said. He opened his banking app and read the last 4 digits, 7734. The world seemed to tilt. That's not possible, David said, his voice trembling. Rachel wouldn't do this. She took care of you. I need her financial records, I replied. David was already scrolling through her Facebook page. There was an August photo album labeled New Beginnings. Images of Rachel posing next to a shiny new Lexus SUV. Pictures from a resort in Cabo San Lucas. Photos of her handing oversized checks to her 2 grown kids. David sank into a chair. The car. She told me she'd been saving for years. We dug deeper into her social media. The Lexus was worth at least $65,000. The Cabo trip, probably $10,000. The checks to her kids? $25,000 each. $50,000 total. It was all there, a blatant parade of my stolen home equity. I didn't confront her. Instead, I booked a consultation with Patricia Herrera, a lawyer specializing in financial fraud and elder abuse. At 54, especially post-surgery, I qualified as a vulnerable victim. Patricia heard me out. Catherine, this is major federal fraud, reverse mortgage fraud, identity theft, forgery, wire fraud. We're talking serious prison time. What's my next step? I asked. Document everything, she said. Then we go to the FBI. For the next 6 weeks, I turned detective on my own family. I learned Rachel had listed herself as my authorized representative on the application, falsely claiming power of attorney. I tracked down the mobile notary, who recalled the appointment. A woman matching Rachel's description met her at a coffee shop, presented an ID in my name, and signed the documents. She even described Rachel's small scar above her left eyebrow. I filed a police report and contacted the FBI. Agent Monica Ramirez, young but sharp, took the case. This is one of the most thorough fraud cases I've seen from a victim, she said. You've done half our work. How long will this take? A couple of months, she replied. We need to verify everything, but I'm confident we'll have enough for an arrest warrant. I told David everything. He was shattered. She's my sister, he kept repeating. How could she? I don't know, I said, but she'll face the consequences. What now? We wait and act normal. If she suspects we're onto her, she might bolt. Thanksgiving was excruciating. Rachel arrived in her Lexus, dressed in pricey new clothes, boasting about an investment windfall. She hugged me, asked about my hip, and said how happy she was to have helped me. I forced a smile and thanked her, counting the days. The FBI arrested Rachel on December 23rd. We have the warrant, Agent Ramirez told me. We're executing it this afternoon. I want to be there, I said. Mrs. Morrison, that's not typical procedure. I don't care, I replied. She did this to me. I want to see her face when she's caught. We didn't cancel Christmas dinner. The house smelled of roasting turkey. David was on edge, but helped me set the table with our best china. Rachel arrived at 2 p.m., wearing a designer dress worth about $800. Merry Christmas, she called out. The living room buzzed with family, my grandnephew showing off a new toy car, David chuckling with his aunt, Rachel in the kitchen with my mother-in-law, arguing over whether the mashed potatoes needed more butter. For a fleeting moment, I almost wished I hadn't called the FBI. At 3:15 p.m., the doorbell rang. David answered. Agent Ramirez stood on the porch with 2 other agents and 2 uniformed officers. FBI, we're here for Rachel Whitmore. The room fell silent. Rachel stood, her face going ashen. What? Why? Agent Ramirez entered, holding up the warrant. Rachel Whitmore, you're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, and mortgage fraud. Her eyes locked on mine. Catherine, tell them it's a mistake. My voice was steady. No mistake, Rachel. You forged my signature and took a reverse mortgage on my home. You stole $178,000. I don't know what you're talking about. She screamed. David, tell them your wife's confused. David looked at her with contempt. I've seen the documents, Rachel. The account ending in 7734, it's yours. We know everything. Agent Ramirez approached with handcuffs. No, wait, I can explain. Rachel begged. It was just a loan, Catherine. You're wealthy. I was going to repay you. I was desperate. You bought a $65,000 car, I said coolly. You vacationed in Cabo. You gave your kids $50,000. That's not desperation. That's theft. They cuffed her in front of 18 family members. Catherine, please, we're family. She sobbed as they led her out. David, make her stop them. The door shut. David's mother turned to me. How long have you known? 3 months, I said. And you let her come today? The FBI needed time, I replied. And yes, I let her come. You don't get to steal from family and then sit at their Christmas table like it's nothing. Rachel's son stood, face flushed. You didn't have to humiliate her. She humiliated herself when she committed multiple felonies. I shot back. If you're mad, be mad at your mother. They stormed out, hurling insults. The 4 of us ate Christmas dinner in near silence. The legal process spanned 8 months. The evidence was airtight. Rachel pleaded guilty to all charges. At the sentencing hearing in September, the judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, heard everyone out before turning to me. Mrs. Morrison, would you like to speak? I stood, leaving my prepared notes in my purse. Your Honor, I spent over 30 years investigating fraud, but I never thought someone I trusted with my life would use that trust to steal my home's equity. She brought me my pain meds on time, Your Honor. She adjusted my pillows. And while she was doing those kind things, she was robbing me of my financial security. Rachel Whitmore didn't just commit fraud, she shattered sacred trust. I asked for the maximum sentence. The judge sentenced Rachel to 6 years in federal prison, 3 years of supervised release, and full restitution. Rachel's relationship with David is broken. He hasn't spoken to her since that Christmas. His mother still grapples with why I didn't handle it privately. Some nights, David couldn't sleep, haunted by the sister he thought he knew. Was any of it real? He asked me once. I held him and said, the sister you grew up with might have been real, but the woman who did this is a stranger. We have to grieve the one we lost and hold the stranger accountable. In those quiet moments, we strengthened our bond, a refuge amid the chaos she left behind. I have no regrets. The reverse mortgage was cleared from my property record. My credit was restored. Rachel will be released in 2029. Her kids blame me, but David stands by me, and that's what counts. Last week, I received a 3-page letter from Rachel, full of remorse and pleas for forgiveness. I replied with one line, your sentence ends in 2029. So does my willingness to consider forgiveness. I'm not sure if I'll ever truly forgive her. Forgiveness is for those who've earned it through real change. Rachel has 4 years to show if she's capable of that. Standing up for yourself is hard. If you've been through something like this, please subscribe and join our community. Hit the hype button if this story resonated, and let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories reach.